You are under my power. Look into the hypnotic eye. You're not dreaming. You're watching Cinema Insomnia.
We are the survivors of a disintegrated solar system.
Tell this to everybody wherever they are. Watch the sky. Everywhere. Keep looking. Keep watching the sky.
Flying saucers have invaded our planet. Please assume the position to repeat after Mr. Lobo.
You see? Your stupid mind. Stupid.
You're not dreaming. You're watching Cinema Insomnia.
Hey, did you hear that? We're going to England! Oh boy, hey Edgar, get your suitcase! Hey, say, does anybody know what the in-flight movie is? Oh, I hope it's Raiders.
Welcome, everyone, to the Intergalactic Expo. We have delegates from all over the galaxy who have come to West Sacramento to learn all there is to know about the universes of science fiction and fantasy, fandom. Actually, we're very, very excited. I'm Mr. Lobo. I have a show called Cinema Insomnia. Any Cinema Insomnia people? Okay, one. Great, fantastic. I started here in Sacramento at a TV station called News 10. They had a Saturday movie that ran 20 minutes short. And I started doing kind of some jackassery around the movie at 3 in the morning on Sunday morning. And then it just kind of expanded. And then we went into syndication in 2003. And first we got picked up in Monroe, Louisiana, and Norfolk, Virginia. Basically any place where teeth and shoes were scarce. We were very much enjoying Cinema Insomnia. I'm joking, of course, but Cinema Insomnia, and we built an empire. We were picked up by a syndicator, and now I have a streaming channel for Roku called OSI 74, which is kind of homage to all those old weird UHF stations of the past. This is like a UHF station from another dimension. How many people here are old enough to see Star Wars when it first opened? Wow, you guys are old. Really old. No, I remember seeing it at the, I think it was the Sacramento 6. Might have been the Skyview. The Sacramento 6 drive-in. And my mom fried chicken, and I just remember sinking in my chair because I could have swear that Darth Vader could somehow reach out of that screen and pick me up. Yes. Okay.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
You know, there was a power to that movie. I think a lot of people forget that this was not a big Hollywood movie. You know, we have Disney and stuff pulling our strings right now, but in those days, it was very maverick, you know? No one had made a movie like that. No one had used those kind of techniques. You know, no one had ever, the good guys versus bad guys space opera stuff was very passé. No one was asking for it. Nobody wanted it, except for George Lucas and Gary Kurtz. They wanted fun movies, and they created something that was so irresistibly deep. You know, they left so much uncharted. You know, it's like, yeah, there's this emperor guy somewhere. And oh yeah, there's a Senate and a Republic, and there's all this, and there's, oh yeah, that weird guy in the bar there, yeah, there's a whole race of guys that are like that, and they do this thing. So they left this immense playground for people, young people, to just fall into, and the 70s were so cynical. You know, people think, oh, they can't make a movie like that today because, you know, we're too cynical now. We were cynical then. And Star Wars was a breath of fresh air. Star Trek was a breath of fresh air. The fandom that has created all of this, the convention community, is built on goodwill and not on calling each other names on the internet and mean spirits. The Star Trek universe is a very, very idealistic and non-confrontational universe. And the Star Wars universe is a very positive and uncynical universe. And I think that that was the appeal of it. We were kids. It was a safe space for us as when we were kids. And I think and great memories as an adult. And so why don't we have a big round of applause for Star Wars and the fandom and this incredible empire that has been built. Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Someone put a price on Mr. Lobo's head, and now I've been captured by the Mandalorian mercs. Hopefully we'll be back with more Cinema Insomnia.
Somewhere in space, this may all be happening right now. 20th Century Fox and George Lucas, the man who brought you American Graffiti, now bring you an adventure unlike anything on your planet. Star Wars.
Here they come. Coming in too fast!
The story of a boy, a girl, and a universe. It's a big, sprawling space saga of rebellion and romance. It's a spectacle, light years ahead of its time.
I am C-3PO, human cyborg relations, and this is my counterpart, R2-D2.
Hello. No sauces, no sauces!
It's an epic of heroes.
Good luck.
And villains. And aliens from 1,000 worlds. Star Wars, 1 billion years in the making, and it's coming to your galaxy this summer.
Listen, let's get one thing straight. Guns don't kill people. I do.
Channel 62 has the lowest ratings in the history of television. What they need is a new station manager.
No, not him. Forget it. No way.
A man of action. A man of courage. A man of vision.
What's your name? Billy. Billy what?
What they get is a man so desperate, he'll put anyone on the air.
Hey, Stanley.
Yeah, George?
How'd you like your own TV show?
Okay. You get the drink from the fire hose! Okay, you ready? Yeah! Open wide!
He's Conan, the librarian.
Today we're teaching poodles how to fly.
We beat out the networks.
George Newman. He starts where the others stop.
We're the #1 station in town.
Orion Pictures presents Weird Al Yankovic in UHF, the movie.
have some very interesting gentlemen here that are coming, and I hope they're coming soon. But we have C. Andrew Nelson. Are we stretching? Okay, stretch. C. Andrew Nelson, who has been in the Darth Vader. Yes, big applause. He was an effects guy at Industrial Light and Magic, who happened to be 6'4". And oh, there you are. See, you can measure him yourself right now. So see, Andrew.
Yes.
It's like yes, I can. It's like Beetlejuice, right? You just say his name and it just evokes his presence.
Right.
There's a few like that. There's Candyman, right? There's Beetlejuice.
And there's me.
And there's you. Yes. You have to apply for a special thing to have that.
Yeah,
Bloody Mary, right? You say it in the mirror 3 times. So we're very lucky, ladies and gentlemen. A big applause for C. Andrew Nelson. You can pull that thing up if you want. What do you think of this? Do you feel like Bob Barker?
I feel like Gene Rayburn.
Rayburn? Yes,
Rayburn.
See, okay. I told you.
Where's Brett Summers?
Oh, where is she? Okay, now that we need her. I was doing my Charles Nelson Riley earlier.
Right.
So you were an effects guy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Do you want to do just a basic hello and a description of your explanation of what got you to this point?
I'm an actor, I'm a visual effects artist, animator, and a genuine Dark Lord of the Sith. But I think actually we should bring in our other guest too. So.
Absolutely. And is he nearby?
Ready? He's right there.
Oh, wow.
He's waiting for you.
This is exciting. See, I didn't know that you guys were waiting in the wings.
Oh, okay.
I would have given proper introductions. I just thought I was alone up here.
I know, as is so often the case. So.
I was messing with him and telling him he had to stretch.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks, Aaron. Aaron made it seem like you guys were just out having a beer somewhere. Great. Ladies and gentlemen, Star Wars fans, if nothing, are obsessive, completist. I remember even as a kid, after seeing the original Star Wars, I tried to make myself a Tusken Raider mask out of toilet paper tubes and masking tape, and just couldn't get the geometry figured out. And it was depressing. And to imagine what it was like to be there and to be part of that and to be selected to be in that world. There's so few people that we haven't met, haven't seen. This is someone who, this is what, his first or second appearance?
First convention.
First convention, ladies and gentlemen.
Get an exclusive.
I mean, they're a dying breed, for sure. Thanks to the Skywalkers.
Right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce Alan Fernandes, the Tusken Raider. Come on out. We're so pleased to have you join us. Have a seat. This is such a great privilege to have you here. I guess we are supposed to be seated now so that we can have our procession. Big wave here. This is going to get weird now as we sit down into our command station.
And he's got the gavel too. This is great.
Please calm down, will you guys? Settle down. Good job. Ladies and gentlemen. You're always, now I imagine those guys follow you to the grocery store, C. Andrew Nelson. Does that happen?
That would be wonderful. If I had a whole entourage of stormtroopers, nobody would charge me the wrong price when I go to the stores.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to be able to sit with a very elite group. What I was saying before about Lucasfilm, Star Wars was the Beatles of our generation. No one had ever heard anything like that before. No one ever saw anything like that before. And it was no one really understood the process, how it was made, and maybe at times they didn't understand what they were doing.
Right.
But regardless, it's an extremely close-knit, elite sort of group to be a part of. So I guess the first question is, what does it feel to be part of such a elite corner of entertainment in general?
Andrew, you go first.
Okay, you want me to go first? Well, the interesting thing is, it's like, as Mr. Lobo said, this was a phenomenal thing that happened when Star Wars came out. It changed everything. It changed the way that entertainment was in the world. It changed the way that movies were made. It changed everything, literally changed everything. And it changed me, it changed my life. A lot of people say, oh, Star Wars changed my life. It literally changed my life. Because at the time that the first film came out, now I'm not the original Darth Vader, I'm not old enough to have been the original Darth Vader. David Prowse was the original Vader, I'm a 2.0. And when the film first came out, it was 1977, I saw it probably, I think it was probably about 3 weeks after the film had come out. So I knew of it, I knew that it was very popular, didn't know anything about the film, except the trailer, which I had seen. And I went to go see it with some friends, and we went to see it at the Coronet Theater in San Francisco, which is gone now. Yeah, they tore it down. Built condominiums or something there. And I remember my friends and I, we got there, we stood in line for 2 hours just to get tickets. Then we had to stand in another line for about another hour to get into the theater. But somehow, I managed to get what I believe was the very best seat in the theater. And it was just the perfect spot. And when that opening scene happened, where the Rebel blockade runner flies over your head, followed by that massive Star Destroyer, I looked up at the screen and I thought, I want to do that for a living. Because before that, I was going to be a stop-motion animator. That was my plan. I was going to be the next Ray Harryhausen.
Jason and the Argonauts,
exactly.
and Sinbad, moving our little tiny armatures.
That was my plan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
big business.
I remember Star Wars was the first film that I had ever stayed to watch the entire film, the ending credits and everything, because I wanted to know who made this movie and how did they do it and how can I do that too? And so there was nowhere to go to learn how to do this. I'm a 15-year-old kid. There wasn't the internet back then, so there was nowhere to Google this stuff. So I just had to kind of piece it together, from magazine articles and whatever I could find. Just trying to find some kind of information and a lot of experimentation. Now, I'd started acting when I was 10 years old, started off in theater and then moved into film and television and commercials and that sort of thing. But I can remember standing there at the end of summer in '77, after the crowds had died down, my friends and I, we would go and if the film started at the first showing was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we'd get there at 10 o'clock in the morning just so we could say we were first.
Yeah,
because we had no lives, we had no girlfriends, we had nothing.
Yeah.
And I remember standing there and thinking, making this wild prediction to my friends. I said, one day I'm going to play Darth Vader. They go, shut up. I'm taller than either of you. But
I also made that same thing, but I did not become Darth Vader.
I'm sorry, I got in line ahead of you. I'm sorry.
So yeah, the story was exactly the same. I'll say one day I'm going to be Darth Vader, and then it was a lot of crying alone.
Darn that, Andrew!
Yeah,
you took my gift.
Yeah, it's good. I actually arranged this so that Alan will be between us, so that I don't choke the living crap out of you for having that job of being Darth Vader.
What is thy bidding, my master?
There is a great disturbance in the Force. Get his battery.
If you only knew the power of the dark side.
Still going. Long-lasting Energizer batteries keep going and go.
This fall, their new adventures will excite you.
So, you want to play rough, do ya?
Their spirit will surprise you, and their fun will delight you. Saturdays this fall on ABC, they're the all-new Ewoks. Together.
That's more like it.
I am always thinking of new dreams.
George Lucas.
I dream of visions which have
彼は
yet to be seen.
いつも新しい夢を考えてきた。
Which have not yet been
見たことのないものを、
From dreams,
聞いたことのない音を
a new reality.
現実の形にしてきた。
In this universe, new dreams and new friends.
この宇宙は新しい夢と仲間でいっぱいだ。
Panasonic. Always new dreams, wonderful friends.
パナソニック。いつも新しい夢。素晴らしい仲間。
Panasonic. Itsumo, something new.
Star Wars Return of the Jedi is here. From it, Kenner brings you 65 incredible Star Wars action figures, each sold separately. And now Kenner reveals yet another from the dark side of the Force, the Supreme Master, the Emperor, and he's yours free just by sending 5 proofs of purchase from any Star Wars action figures to Return of the Jedi, Box 596, Young America, Minnesota. But hurry, this offer will end.
So you built up your reputation as an effects artist, right?
And eventually I got hired at LucasArts, and I actually got hired very much at the bottom of the ladder, in the art department there. Originally, I was hired as a customer support representative. So if you bought a game at LucasArts and you couldn't get it to run on your computer and you were really angry and you found that phone number in the back of the manual, I was the guy that answered the phone.
And there would just be heavy breathing on the other end.
And so I did that for about a year, and then submitted my portfolio to the art department and was brought in at the very bottom. And
I have a very lovely rejection postcard from Industrial Light and Magic.
I have one from Lucasfilm, oddly enough, a year before I was hired there.
Oh, yeah?
So, yes.
Yeah, so you know exactly what that looks like.
Absolutely, yes.
That weird, so they didn't have to waste an envelope on you. They just printed out a postcard.
Yes.
All your friends could see your failure as it arrived to your house.
It arrived in the mail, yes. So then the first game I worked on was a game that nobody ever heard of. It was called Mortimer and the Riddles of the Medallion. Thank you for
thanks for remembering.
I told you nobody's heard of it. When I started on the game, I was an art technician. By the time the game shipped, I was lead effects animator, and became a senior artist and visual effects supervisor soon after that, and then transferred over to Industrial Light and Magic. But I got the gig as Vader while I was working at LucasArts. So.
And it was just like, we need a guy who's 6'4"? Is that how that happened?
It was a phone call that started with not even a hello, but how tall are you? And it started from there. So.
What are you wearing?
Black leather.
You're perfect. We're in the other room. There's a clown and a midget with a camera.
Yeah. Don't make eye contact.
Yes. So wow, so that's basically it. And then what was your first, I guess, moment in that costume? What did they need you for?
My first moment was for a live event. It was a charity event for Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, so that the kids could have a meet and greet. This is before the 501st and all of that, and somebody had found out that I had an acting background and everything, and so I tried on the costume and it fit, and we did the one event, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's a
Can you do
once in a
some
lifetime.
gestures for us? Can we have some Vader-like gestures? Wow, that's amazing.
That's the famous gesture.
It's so good.
I actually slapped the kid in the head.
I had chills when you did that just now.
You have terrible visibility with that mask. You can basically see what's directly in front of you through the lenses of the mask, or through the bottom of the where your mouth would be.
Little vent.
You can see a little bit. You can see your feet.
Yeah.
That's about it. And so as I was gesturing and being all Vaderly, I smacked the kid upside the head.
Oh no!
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like, what kind of big brother am I for this? And I thought that was it. I'm done. I'm done. I'm out of this business. But the kid was like, cool.
Yeah.
I just got smacked by Vader.
Oh yeah.
So,
are you kidding?
But so that was the first event, and then I got called back for the LucasArts game Dark Forces.
Oh
the
yes.
cutscenes for that, and then I got the special edition.
Did you ever work on a game called Zombies Ate My Neighbors?
Yes, I did.
God bless you, sir.
I love that game.
That is my all-time favorite video game. If you give a Super NES, I highly recommend that you set aside 2 or 3 months of just doing nothing but playing that game.
It's addictive.
Yeah. But we won't talk about that.
No.
So there you go, and there you are, and then forevermore it was what M&M packages and.
I was from that point on. It was like every time they needed Vader for something.
Yeah.
It's like I was in the special edition of the original trilogy. When George added additional scenes to the films, he put me in there as Vader for those scenes.
Awesome.
I'm in the. So I got a thumbs down out there from that. Yeah, I know. I didn't like all of it either. I'm sorry. Han shot first. Thank you.
Yes, sure.
Yeah. I'm on Paul Blake's side on that one. But I did that. I did video games like Rebel Assault 2.
Yeah. That's a great game.
I did a ton of commercials and print ads and magazine covers and toy packaging. I'm even on a postage stamp.
As Vader?
Yes, Vader.
Postage
I thought you
stamp
had to be dead to be on a postage stamp.
Wow,
but
that's
apparently
amazing.
not. So, and then also I did voices for games and anime. I actually have the interesting distinction of having been Luke Skywalker as well, because I was the voice of Luke Skywalker for multiple LucasArts games.
Oh, wow.
So I am my own father.
That's weird.
Or my own
Well,
son.
this is West Sacramento, so...
I know.
They're coming to your neighborhood.
You're not the pizza guy.
Zombies ate my neighbors! Now playing on Sega Genesis and Super NES, a 55-level feeding frenzy of time-cut creature features, fending off bee-moving maniacs with your weed whackers, exploding soda pop, and boozy squirt gun. Save the neighbors! Or they're dead meat. Zombies ate my neighbors! From Konami.
For an entire generation, people have experienced Star Wars the only way it's been possible, on the TV screen. But if you've only seen it this way, you haven't seen it at all. Now, for its 20th anniversary, the adventure of a lifetime returns to the big screen in a way you've never seen before.
There'll be no one to stop us this time.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
With newly enhanced visual effects,
They're coming in too fast!
THX and digital sound, and a few new surprises. On President's Day weekend, 1997,
Good luck.
George Lucas and 20th Century Fox invite you to welcome back Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo, Darth Vader, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Chewbacca, C-3PO, and R2-D2. Finally, the motion picture event, the way it was meant to be experienced.
This will be a day long remembered.
As the entire Star Wars trilogy returns on February 14th, Star Wars, followed soon after by The Empire Strikes Back, and then Return of the Jedi.
Move closer!
For a whole new generation who have yet to experience it on the big screen. And for everyone else to experience it again.
That boy is our last hope.
No, there is another.
The Star Wars Trilogy, Special Edition. See it again for the first time.
The Force will be with you, always.
Alan.
Oh.
Yes. You are here.
He's here.
Yes. Well, you wanted him to go first. I tried to warn you.
Okay. Your turn.
Alan, I mean, I think the Tusken Raiders stand is probably one of the most unique aliens ever in a movie. Mm-hmm. They're so mysterious, and you don't really know how alien they really are because they're kind of all covered up in bandages. I'm sure it was a nightmare to wear the costume. And so I guess before we jump right into that, could you give us your background? I know you worked with elephants. I know that the Bantha was a big part of that.
Actually, the Bantha got picked for the movie, not me. Seriously, I went along with
you were with the Bantha, yeah.
Margie wouldn't go anywhere without me.
Yeah.
So I went with her.
Was she a sweet elephant?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it was in the elephant's contract that if they hired the elephant, they had to hire you.
Yeah. The elephant demanded that you accompany her.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this elephant, Margie, you said?
Correct.
And how old of an elephant was this?
I'm
Do you
not sure.
know?
I think she was in her 20s.
In her 20s, which is that, I don't know anything about elephants. Is that a young elephant?
Dog years or anything like that.
Okay,
I,
all right.
I don't believe so.
Okay, so they have a 20-year-old elephant, and then they what did they try to, they ask people at the zoo, or where did you work?
It was at the Marine World. It wasn't a zoo, it was a entertainment park. They actually built...
This is Marine World, Africa, USA?
Africa in Robo City.
Oh, I love that place when I was a kid.
Before it moved to Vallejo. That's when we had more animals than rides.
Yeah, at a certain point, they
No,
tipped their priorities. In the beginning, it was about the animals.
I started working with cats, lions and tigers. And then
Now, when you say cats, you mean big cats.
big cats.
Lions, tigers. This is dangerous stuff. This is not simple stuff.
Correct.
Yeah.
But, you know, some of the cats were very affectionate.
Yeah.
In fact, I had Charlie, the cougar, lay his head on my shoulder
Aw.
when he took a nap.
Yeah.
And you know, wonderful.
Yeah.
I got a picture somewhere. And I was a night keeper when I first started out working there, and I got to know all the animals very well.
So you started from the bottom too, just like C. Andrew here, where you had worked at a night is that like a night watchman for the
Yes,
zoo? Okay.
correct. And
For the
people
park, I
ask
should say.
me, What do you do at Marine World? I said, shovel shit, which is true. I mean, that's how it's
What? And quit showbiz?
Wow.
Yeah.
Everybody does
Yeah,
that.
sure.
Everybody did at one point.
Yeah,
Keep the animals
absolutely.
happy.
Yeah. So basically, Lucasfilm needed you there to shovel the shit, also.
When I met Mr. Lucas the morning of the shoot, we had no idea this was going to happen.
Yeah.
In fact, he came and knocked on the trailer door because Margie was very uneasy.
Yeah.
So I spent the night on the hayloft in the trailer with her. And Mr. Lucas came and knocked on the back of the truck and says, breakfast, 5 a.m. I'm going, okay. So I didn't get a chance to groom myself, so I went had breakfast. And then off we went to the desert to start filming.
And which desert was this?
Death Valley.
Death Valley.
Death Valley.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
No.
you didn't go out of the country or anything for any of these scenes?
No,
Yeah.
no, not that I know of.
Yeah.
But you never
Yes.
know.
Okay.
You know, you film
Yes.
here and you're seeing it somewhere else. you know.
Yes.
Now, going down to Death Valley was very interesting. With Margie in the back, she's got a ton of weight.
What kind of vehicle do you take an elephant anywhere in?
Semi-trailer
Oh,
with
wow.
a huge trailer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm
Anyway,
picturing
going
this now.
down-
So you got a semi truck with an elephant in the back. Now,
the
is the
back.
elephant costumed for this or no?
The costume came in a different truck.
Came in a different truck.
Oh, yeah.
Another semi just for the costume.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And when we were going down, the brakes started getting hot.
Yeah.
Because of the weight.
Yeah.
We jumped out, put some
Oh wow.
boulders on the wheels to slow it down.
Oh
So
wow.
Driving
I was not driving.
Oh, you're not
Okay,
driving.
but
Okay.
you were
was
along for
driving.
the ride, and when the tonnage got too much, you had to slow it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Anyway, so Margie was very uneasy about this.
Yeah, I
whole
would
thing.
imagine.
So I stayed with her until she calmed down.
Yeah, well, she's lucky she had you there.
Oh, yes. I was lucky to be there.
Yeah. And then did they explain anything about, okay, you're on another planet. We want you to put these bandage things on your head. We want you to shoot.
What did they tell you?
Yeah, what did they tell you anything? Did you have a script? Sides?
No, nothing.
Wow.
In fact, they made my helmet on site.
Oh wow.
They measured each head and made it
Wow, so they made those on the spot?
on the spot.
I couldn't make them for 2 months out of toilet paper rolls and
Well, see,
and
the
tape.
wrappings,
Yeah.
they used WD-40 and the sand from the ground.
Okay.
And rubbed it into the...
So they rub the wrappages. Write this down. This is the recipe for bandages.
Yeah.
WD-40 and sand from Death Valley. Rub that into your bandages. And now I always thought, and as a kid, as a nerd, I mean, I always thought they were somewhat technological. Like maybe they had tiny little moisture evaporators on the top of their head, and there was some kind of cooling system going on, and it was exhausting out of that weird mouth thing of theirs. I had a lot of thoughts about it, especially since Darth Vader was so sophisticated with his life support system. system, you kind of imagine that they had maybe a much cruder sort of version of the same thing.
That's the richness of the Star Wars saga, is that there's so much that you can read into it. It's like, oh, look at this wonderful design of this character. What does this mean? What does that do? And that's what's great about it.
But really, you're telling me they just got down on the floor in the desert and started kludging this thing together, and then they knew it when they had it.
That looks good.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, their eyes, all I could do was look straight forward, memorize the terrain, and run.
Oh,
and
wow.
I tripped and fell many times.
Oh, wow. Ooh. And so, did you hurt yourself?
Yeah, I broke my bridge here. And in fact, the original mask is still in the archives.
Oh, okay.
At the ranch.
Yep, I've seen it there.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did they have any of that stuff at the Museum of Modern Art in San Francisco? Because I think they did have a representative.
Yeah, you're talking about there was an Art of Star Wars exhibit a few years back that I think it was '95.
Yeah.
That had a lot of that stuff on
there.
the South of Market.
That's when you realize how tiny a sand speeder is, where you could it's like a child's car, like a clown car.
No, my mask is still there because it fell off the shelf and one of those broke.
Yeah.
So they left it there.
Oh.
And I said, "Can I have it?" They said, "No."
Oh. Aw, that's not fair. Yeah. So I'm sorry, what was the elephant's name again?
Margie.
Margie. So Margie, did a costumer measure the elephant? And
they did.
Was it based on like a circus harness or something? I mean, what did they base it on to fit it?
Actually, they built it around her. It took between 6 and 8 months.
Oh, wow.
They used balsa wood for the tail, which is interesting. The tail is a platypus type tail.
So he's got a flat tail like a platypus, you say?
And it was attached to her rear end, and when she moved her hips, the tail would swivel.
Oh,
swivel
wow, that's pretty
forth. So,
sophisticated. Yeah.
And she had her trunk, when she was breathing, she would let it down.
Yeah.
And when I said, okay, she would let the trunk down. Otherwise, once it trunk up and she'd hold it, while the filming was going on, so you can't see the trunk.
Wow. So where would the trunk be? Like under the mouth?
In her mouth.
Oh, in her mouth.
Like that, yeah.
Oh, wow.
How interesting.
Wow.
This is something I've always wondered.
Yeah, I'm fascinated.
If it was usually me that said, okay, she dropped her trunk.
Now, did you get up on top of her? Or are you the guy riding up on top of her? Oh, wow.
That's why I broke my nose. I would run and jump and fell.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Somebody said, okay, not me, and she dropped her trunk. And Mr. Lucas says, stop the film, and we're going in.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Because the trunk will be...
You don't want to see the trunk. No, don't want your trunk out. Don't want to rock out with your trunk out.
But I still think that is one of the coolest scenes in the whole movie.
Absolutely.
It's one of those scenes where you realize, okay, I'm in another place. I am on another planet. It is the most otherworldly moment. And when you see that bantha, when you see the Tusken Raiders like that, that was one of the things that just stuck with me when I first saw the film.
The Jawas and the Sand People. The first time you see them, you're like, what kind of movie is this?
Yeah.
And now they're so, you see them on Burger King glasses and everything. It's hard to really appreciate how exotic all those things were. Right. But there was this real attempt to create this kind of high-flying fantasy. What can we do? What are the limitations? How far out can we go? And it was pretty far out.
Yes, sir. May I help you?
I'd like 2 of those, please.
Hot dogs? Yes, sir.
And 3 of those, and 1 of those, and 5 bars of these, and a cup of that nice hot liquid.
Coffee. Coming right up.
Oh, and 2 bags of those peculiar white puffy material.
You mean our crunchy popcorn? Shall I wrap that for you, sir?
Oh, that's all right. My saucer's just outside.
They come from miles to enjoy our intermission.
soft baby skin. Milk for strong baby bones. Bright baby eyes.
Baby milk's for you.
We've passed on all we know. 1,000 generations live in you now. But this is your fight.
Troops is filmed on location with the men of the Imperial Forces. All suspects are guilty, period. Otherwise, they wouldn't be suspects, would they?
I joined the Empire about 6 years ago. I can remember as a kid, watching the holographic images and being excited about the new direction that the galaxy was taking. So when I was old enough, I went down to the local recruitment center, and signed up. And I've been here at Tatooine ever since. Most people would call this the ass end of space, but I like the small town feeling you get around here. I mean, we know everybody. Everybody. And I feel I can really make a difference here. We got a routine stop here. We have a report of some stolen droids, and we think these might be it. Excuse me. Excuse me. You want to come over here, please? Yeah, I'm talking to you. Whose droid is this? Uh-huh, it's your cousin's. Is this your cousin? Is this your cousin? Are you his cousin? No? Okay, then who are you? Ah, you're his friend. Well, Mr. Friend, would you, step over there for a moment, please? Okay, so the, droid belongs to your cousin. Now, if I go over to that sand crawler over there and ask to see your cousin, is he gonna have a bill of sale for this? Okay, well, what I'm gonna do now, sir, is place you under Imperial arrest, so we can only help... Hey, am I talking to you? Am I talking to you? Then stay over there and shut your mouth. Now, if you move again, I'm, gonna shoot you. No. Yeah, I understand. I got a wife and kids, too, but you don't see me out here stealing Imperial droids, now do you? Yeah, sure, you'll never do it again.
He's making a run for it! Hey, there goes the other one!
I got him. Okie doke. Shut the camera off. Yeah, shut it off. Shut it off. Well, what we had here was that these, Jawas had stolen some Imperial property, and it unfortunately turned violent. These Jawas do this kind of stuff all the time, picking up, you know, stray droids and selling them off to the highest paying customers.
Well, we didn't find the droids we were looking for, but we did find one that a kid had reported stolen. So he and his parents are going to come down to the detention center and pick it up.
Boy, I'll bet they'll be happy.
Yep, that's what it's all about.
882, possible 237, Moisture Farm.
We got a call to check out this domestic dispute. Now, supposedly the husband said something to their kid, and now the wife thinks that he's run off, you know. Supposedly one of them's intoxicated and one of them's injured. Now, we're familiar with this couple. You know, this is not the first time we've been out here, so we're gonna see if we can straighten this whole thing out. All right, well, what's the problem, Rue?
I've had it! I've had it with him! He keeps lying to Luke and me, and now Luke's run off and hasn't come back!
That's ridiculous.
Hey! I'll talk to you in a second. Right now I'm talking to your wife, all right?
Okay. And Luke's probably dead now because of you!
Now, Baru, just calm down. Calm down, okay? Now, do you want to be arrested? Well, if you keep this up, that's just what I'm going to have to do. You don't want that, do you?
No.
Okay, then. Now you're going to calm down? Okay, good. Why don't you start over?
Well, yesterday Luke comes in and says, I think these droids...
No, Luke's your boy?
My nephew. Anyway, he says, I think these droids we bought might be stolen. And then he says, well, I don't care. Your only concern is to get them working. And Luke is like, I want to go to the academy. And he says, well, I need you for the harvest this year. And then he starts talking about Obi-Wan and his father.
I did not.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You're just lying. You're always lying to him. You never tell him the truth about him or his sister.
Baru, shut up.
No, I'm tired of shutting up. You shut up.
Well, you can both shut up or spend a night in the detention area, all right? All right? Now, look. What do you want to do now, Baru? Baru, what do you want to do now?
I don't know.
Okay, now see, that's wrong. What do you mean you don't know? You obviously have a problem, otherwise we wouldn't be in
I don't have a problem.
Baru, come here. Now look, do you see his ear? How it's cut like that? Now, it didn't get that way by itself, did it?
No.
And you did that, didn't you? Yes, you did. Now, see, that tells me you have a problem. And when we get called in, then it becomes our problem. And
yeah, but he was the one who started
Now,
it.
wait a second, Baru. I'm talking. I listen to you, now you listen to me. That's how this works, okay? Now, are you going to listen to me?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Sure you are. Now, how many times have we been out here, Baru? A lot, huh? We know the way by heart. And what did I tell you last time?
I don't know.
You don't know or you don't remember?
I don't know.
Baru, what do you want to do?
I want you to arrest him.
And you owe me big time.
I can't arrest him. He hasn't done anything. If there's anybody I should be arresting, it should be you for assault. Baru, you have two choices here. And yelling and arresting him are not two of them. Now, you can stay here or we can take you to an Imperial shelter. What do you want to do? Baru, what do you want to do? Do you want us to take you somewhere tonight? Huh? Do you?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you need to get anything? Some clothes or something?
Yes. You'll find Luke, won't you?
Yeah. We'll
Luke's
find
all
Luke.
right.
Yeah.
He's just working.
Oh, man. See, the wife is under the delusion that their nephew ran away, right? And she's blaming the husband for it. He's saying that the kid left early to fix a couple of condensers and that the stress of the past week has just, gotten to her. So we're just going to separate them for the night because if we have to come out here again...
Tell me something I don't know.
I'm telling you, I'm ready to shoot them both.
Yep, right there with you.
Look, she's been under a lot of stress lately. We lost a couple of our hired hands and... I don't know, just got carried away a little bit.
Yeah, I know. But right now I think the best thing for both of you is to get some distance from each other for a couple of days.
Yeah, I've been telling her, telling her she needs some help. I've been telling her for a long time now.
Well, this is probably the best thing for her right now. You know what I mean? Just leave it alone, let it be.
Fine.
Yeah. You should really have someone look at that ear.
I'll be fine.
Okay.
Let it go!
Should have seen this coming!
Thermal detonator! Get back! Get back! Get back!
Well, as you can see, things got a bit nasty here. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it was almost expected with these people. Well, the farmers out here are having a bad season. Tempers are high, and it's just bad for everyone. The important thing now is that we find their nephew, Duke, and make sure he's okay.
Hey, did she say they just bought some stolen droids or something?
Yep. Damn shame.
HK-888, check out possible disturbance, Mos Eisley Cantina. HK-888, roger that, control.
Hey, did everybody go to lunch? What's going on here? Hey. Hello in TV land.
I've been waiting for you, Obi-Wan. We meet again at last. The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the... When I left you, I was but... Control yourself. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
Only a master of evil, Darth.
That's awesome. That sounds so cool. Got it. Can I get a hand? No?
Your powers are weak, old man.
Can't win, Darth. You strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Swing and a miss. Okay, it's time for it.
After we finished filming the first night, we let Margie loose and she ran up the sand dune. And the people driving on the highway could see her, but not the truck or anything else.
Oh, wow.
So there's an elephant up there. Nah, keep driving.
A mammoth,
And nobody
maybe.
stopped.
Wow.
They slowed down just a second. They kept
Yeah,
going.
and then you step on
Can't
it,
be.
right? Wow, that's incredible. That the mind reels, and so you probably couldn't see anything at all. It probably now I don't know a lot of. I mean, deserts are different. Was it particularly hot during shooting or cold?
It was winter, but
Okay.
still about 80 degrees.
Okay, that's still warm.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you've got
All the costumes on.
yeah, all the costume on. And then like the robes and everything. I mean, it's just that was all that improvised, or I mean, did they know? Like, obviously, they had to get those kind of bandolier belts and stuff. You had those belts going across you, or those army surplus, or
Oh, they made those.
they made all those.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
You got to remember that the first movie was shot with a very small budget.
Yeah, yeah. New
I
Hope.
mean,
yeah.
I was upset with. I hope nobody's recording this.
Oh no.
No,
We're
no,
not
that
recording.
camera over
No,
there is
no.
not recording a
Yes.
darn thing.
I was upset with one of the money guys.
Yeah.
He left a small tip at the breakfast table.
Oh, uh-huh.
And I didn't like that.
Yeah,
Because she was
yeah.
very nice.
You know,
There were a whole
hardworking
bunch-
people. You got to
There
take
were
care
a
of
whole
them.
bunch of us.
Yeah.
We didn't know what to eat, but
Yeah, yeah. If they gotta entertain sand people and banthas, you got to give them a healthy tip.
Right.
Makes sense to me.
Dragging sand all through the restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. Getting their WD-40 bandages stuck on everything. So this thing happens. You do this. This is a job, right? You do it for how many weeks were you shooting, or was it weeks? How long were you
was
shooting?
1 week.
1 week of shooting.
Yeah, and I believe I got $9 for meals.
$9.
$9. That was my
Wow.
pay. Yeah, I was happy.
Wow. $9.
$9.
$9 in 1970.
That would have been that would have been enough to go actually see the movie when it came out.
Oh, speaking of the movie, when it first came out in
Yeah.
the Conway,
Yeah.
if you saw a yellow Cadillac with a guy in the back seat waving, that was me.
Oh, was it?
That was
Okay.
me.
Oh, wow.
And I saw the line going all the way around the building. I'm going, look, they are all waiting to see me.
My big
Oh my
moment.
gosh, I remember the yellow Cadillac. That was you.
That was me.
That's incredible. That's incredible. You know, and I used to work. When I was a kid, we used to go to Marine World, Africa, USA, and it was like so cool and magical in its own way. It's interesting that those worlds somewhat interconnected. I've got a picture of myself, 8 years old, sitting on top of an elephant. You know, you could have worked with one of those elephants,
I
maybe,
was
right?
on the right.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Wow. Are you my dad? Oh my God. I found my dad. Everybody. No, you were the head of the rides. Wow. That's incredible.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And I remember that too. And they also, for a while, they had the Bantha costume on display there.
Right.
Yes.
I was
I have
so
photos of
excited.
that.
And I would, when I was on that elephant in my mind, I was a Tuscan Raider.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
That was the only thing,
Yeah.
And what was
They just didn't like him bringing all the toilet paper rolls and
Yeah,
things to the
no,
park.
they didn't. They frowned on that. But I would have loved to have been a Tuscan Raider. I'm sure it was miserable to do in real life, but as a kid, I would have loved to have been a Tuscan Raider. I remember getting my trading card from Wonder Bread with a picture of a Tuscan Raider on it. I remember Famous Monsters magazine. My first Famous Monsters magazine. Everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I had Frankenstein and Dracula." First Famous Monsters magazine I brought home had a Tuscan Raider on the front of it.
I remember that issue.
And it was painted by Basil Gogos, I believe.
Yep.
And to see that kind of treatment and to go, this is a new monster, in your face, Frankenstein. This is something new, and I think, for the next few months of Famous Monsters, Star Wars
It was
dominated.
Star Wars all the time, yeah.
Star Wars dominated because there hadn't been anything that exciting in the world of fantasy movies in a long, long, long time. Yeah, absolutely.
Why don't we throw it open to everybody out there, see if who has a question for us up here. Thank you. It's been a wonderful panel. Oh, come on. Somebody's got to have a question. Anything. Yes. Young striped lady over there.
How long did you run the elephant ride at Marine World for?
How long did you run the elephant ride at Marine
Well, I
World?
was there for 5 years. I ran it for 4 years.
I probably rode your elephant.
I'm sure. Now, when I was not at the rides, I was on Tiger Island.
Mm-hmm.
Because my guys at the elephant rides and camel, they were doing well. But I had to go relax with my tigers, my
Yes.
cats.
Yeah. That Puma was waiting to...
No, the Puma was in the gentle
okay, all right.
gentle jungle by then.
Okay, all right.
So this question is for Mr. Nelson.
Okay.
So I know that you worked on the Star Wars Episode 1, and it is the 20th anniversary.
Yes.
And so what does that mean to you, knowing that you got to work on that film, and now we're celebrating 20 years of that, and all of a sudden Jar Jar is all of a sudden super popular?
Well, one, it means I'm 20 years older. And this is gray now. It's an amazing thing to think that it was that long ago. But I have to realize it's like, okay, yeah, I'm looking at the age of my kids, and they're adults now. So yeah, it's an amazing thing. And to realize that, look, I'm not a Jar Jar hater. I don't really have a big problem with Jar Jar. Now, Newt Gunray, I think, is a goofy character.
You my beach, I rule you.
But no disrespect to Silas Carson, who's a wonderful actor, but it's just a goofy character. It's really stupid dialogue. But, sorry. But it's interesting to see what happens because, each generation now can find their own Star Wars that they love. I talk to fans all the time. People say, "Oh, I love the original trilogy. That's my Star Wars." And I talk to other people who say, "I love the prequels. That's my Star Wars." And now I talk to people who say, "I love, the new films, and that's my Star Wars." And so I'm not surprised that people have come around to where they are embracing Jar Jar now. And I don't think that Jar Jar is a bad character. I think he served his purpose. There are a couple of little scenes where it's like, okay, dial it back just a little, but I don't have a problem with that. Did I answer the question? Or?
Yeah, thank you. Good. Thank you, appreciate it.
All right. Who else has a question here? Yes.
When you started doing Darth Vader, you went to an event.
Mm-hmm.
How old were you at that point?
Let's see. That would have been 1994, so I was 32.
And when was the last time?
Last time I played Vader was 2006.
In the costume?
Yes.
And
no, I stood next to it, yes. no, I was right, no, yeah.
Oh, because it was animated or? Oh.
No, it was live action stuff.
Oh, live action.
Yeah, no. No, the only animation that I've done Star Wars wise is just doing voices for some of the games or animating part of the games and stuff like that. But no, I was always Vader on camera in the costume. Nice. So, yeah. So, but inside the big hot sweaty costume.
I think that it's really exciting that the longevity of this thing.
Yeah.
The fact that what are we going on? How many years now?
Let's see. Star Wars came out in 77, so...
What? 41 years. And it's still relevant. People are still excited about it. Mm-hmm. There's still things to talk about.
Yeah.
There's still arguments to get into.
Actually, 42 years now.
42 years. 42.
Yes.
Yes.
It's the answer to the ultimate question.
Life,
the universe, and
everything. That's right. So it is really exciting that that this is still vital, still part of our culture. I remember when I was a kid, I was worried there would be a world without Star Wars at some point.
Yeah.
It was a genuine fear as a kid. I'm like, well, okay, I could be buried with my figures. I had my will, all my toys. I want to be buried with all my toys.
And my toilet paper rolls.
Yeah, yes, my toilet paper rolls for my sand person outfit. But you have this exciting thing, and you don't want it to end, and apparently nobody else wants it to end either. And that's a really exciting thing where you have a legitimate phenomenon where most things come and go in 5 years, and then how many projects have you been involved in that they had high hopes for that they thought was going to be the next big thing?
Sure. And it doesn't work out, but Star Wars still goes strong.
And what do you think that is?
I think it's just the richness of the world that George created. It's the fact that there is so much there to explore. There's so much that you can build upon. It's almost redundant in its level of detail, both visually and also from a story standpoint. There's so many ways you can go with it and so many things you can explore. And that's why you had so many novels, and we did all these storylines in the games and the movies and everything. It's almost limitless. And
it's a great playground to play in, and there's so many open doors. I think that's the thing that I think that, even though I love Back to the Future, I think something happened in Hollywood where they try to write every screenplay to tie up all the loose ends. And I think that can be a mistake sometimes.
Yes.
Because then the audience doesn't have anywhere to play. They don't. There's no adventure between this thing and this thing.
Right.
There's no open ground between this thing and this thing. It's like, okay, well, you seem to be having a good time. Where does my imagination get activated?
Exactly. And I think if I had one beef with Revenge of the Sith is that George tried to tie up too many things. If it had been me, I would not have shown spoilers. I would not have shown Vader becoming Anakin becoming Vader. I would have left it ambiguous so that if you watch them in numerical order rather than in order of release, when you get to Empire Strikes Back and Vader says, "No, I am your father," it's still a shocker.
It's still a surprise.
You know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. We could talk all day on that.
Yes.
But, I think everyone can be Monday Morning Lucas with some of this stuff.
That's true.
And, at the end of the day, all of these movies were successful. All of them made money. All of them are enjoyed by millions and millions of people, even the worst of them.
Star Wars with the King. Star Wars Episode 3 now playing.
Come on out and meet the animals during Marine World Africa USA's Winterfest program. From now until mid-March, you can be up close and personal with a variety of animals. Touch them, feed them, smell them, and love them this winter at Marine World. The park is open Wednesday through Sunday. Come on out and meet the animals.
Federation's gone too far this time.
And I can only protect you. I can't fight a war for you.
Wipe them out. All of them.
Drop the boogie, ball with the ball, the bang, the bang, diggy, 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 set the boogie, set up, drop the boogie, ball with the ball, the bang, the bang, diggy, 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 set the boogie, set up, drop the boogie, ball with the ball, the bang, the bang, diggy, 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 set the boogie, set up, drop the boogie, ball with the ball, the bang, the bang, diggy, 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 set the boogie, set up, drop the boogie.
Two-part question.
Okay.
Are you still working with LucasArts or ILM or any of those places? And in your opinion, since both of you gentlemen actually, have worked in the Star Wars world,
Sure.
Universe,
Mm-hmm.
I've always questioned his casting choices. Not saying that they're bad. That's not what I mean at all.
Especially you two guys. You've ruined the movies for us.
To pick people that you've never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And is that something that he goes out of his way, do you think, to do? Is that, because I actually had a friend who worked for him at ILM, and she was actually in one of the movies, in a very, just standing, in a scene. And she didn't really know. She'd only worked for him for a short period of time. And I'm just curious, as someone especially who worked with him for years, do you think that he goes out of his way to pick relatively unknown actors, and then obviously they jettison, your career is huge from there?
Right.
I'd just like your opinions.
Okay, well, let me answer the first part of the question, which is, no, I haven't worked directly for Lucasfilm for several years now. I have done work for Disney on other projects, including stuff for the theme parks, but no, not Star Wars Land, other stuff. But as far as the second part of your question there, when it came time for casting for the original film, for like the main characters, George Lucas and Brian De Palma were working together. They were good friends, and they were working at the same time trying to cast their two movies. George was casting Star Wars, and De Palma was casting Carrie. And so they did joint auditions. So people that came in to audition for one auditioned for the other. So yes, Sissy
You mean we
Spacek-
missed out as William Catt as Luke Skywalker? Is that what you're
Yes.
saying?
Look, William Catt auditioned for Star Wars. Sissy Spacek came pretty close to being Princess Leia. A lot of people auditioned. John Travolta auditioned for Han Solo because he was auditioning for Carrie and got Carrie instead.
Wow,
But-
that would have been terrible.
Yeah,
Who would have
Robbie
gone for Han Solo?
Benson. Robbie
I wanna
Benson auditioned for Luke. You know, a lot
Robbie
of pe-
Benson
yeah,
as Luke. Wow.
The actual the real runner-up for Princess Leia was Terry Nunn from the band Berlin.
Oh,
And
interesting.
she was a blonde ice princess.
Yeah.
Okay. But
That would have been interesting.
it came down to the rapport, the on-screen rapport that was absolutely clear between Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And that is one of the big things that George looks for. He is finding people that work together
They click
well.
with each other.
Yeah,
Right? Mhm.
and I think he did that with the prequels as well, to a certain extent too, because he could tell right away that, and like a lot of people some people diss Hayden Christensen as Anakin. I defend his choice for that because I met Hayden, I guess maybe 4 days after he was cast as Anakin. And I saw exactly in him what George saw in him. Now, if you have any problems, blame George, because he wrote the dialogue, he did the direction and everything. And you know, George is a great director, but he's not a actor's director. You know, you know, his directions are like more, bigger. You know, it's like
I always thought of him as the John Milner character from American Graffiti. Make it go faster, trick it out, make it cherry.
That is George.
He's mechanically interested in the mechanics of making movies.
Right, and but Hayden Christensen, when I first met him, I thought this is a great guy. He's a nice guy. I really like this guy, but he has this sort of James Dean quality about him. He has this dare I say it, dark side, you know? And that I thought was what worked, and it clicked, and I think that's how George chose that. So this is the kind of thing that George looks for, I think, when he was casting for things. Yeah.
Now, Alan, you have several moments in the actual movie, and there were. Now, I thought there were 6 sand people, but there were only 3.
Correct.
So you were one of the big 3. Are you're the guy who gets tapped on the shoulder where you got the rifle up, and is that you there in
I had
that
the
scene?
rifle. Throughout the movie, I was the guy with the rifle.
You were the guy with the rifle. Yeah. Okay, you didn't have the gaffy stick. You had a rifle.
Smart move.
You
Rifle's
weren't
a much
messing
better
around.
weapon.
Yeah, you just shoot. So
And the gun was a prop.
yeah,
Light.
and then you were the rider of the band.
I was the rider only because I busted my nose and I had to ride because Mr. Lucas said, he's not running anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
He's got too much blood.
Can't ride. Yeah, he's lost too much blood. We're gonna have to get him up.
Leave him up.
Yeah, leave him up on the band. So
The elephant will take care of him, that's
So really, this is okay. So, can you tell us anything about the other gentlemen who were sand people?
I'm not sure. My partner from Marine World, Bob Stryker, I don't know whether he's still alive or around, but I know of the 3, I know I'm alive.
Okay. So you may be one of the last, if not the last, of the sand people.
Well, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, there's rumors all over the place, but I can't back them
You
up.
can't verify. Yeah. Well, all of these people have the internet. Maybe
Google
some wise guy can figure it all out for us.
Thank you.
But still, even if there's 3, right, and one of the gentlemen is not alive anymore, right?
But I understand.
That you understand. So, I mean, that is an elite group. I mean, for such an iconic race of creatures in a movie, and there's maybe 2 of them, right? We only know about you, right?
Correct.
So you could be the last, potentially. I'm not trying to make a big deal out of it.
It's like Highlander all of a sudden.
Yeah.
There can be only one, yes.
You know, you know, that is really impressive. I mean, you know, if you think about, you know, meet.
I'm thinking Chewbacca.
What? You're thinking of what?
Chewbacca.
Chewbacca. Oh boy. Let's think about Chewbacca for a minute. Peter Mayhew. What a gentleman. What a wonderful guy. He had to wear his own, he didn't have to wear a bantha suit, but he was wearing a big yak fur suit, which he always said was very comfortable.
It is very comfortable. Yeah, Peter told me many times how it's a comfortable suit. No costumes are made for comfort. You can address that, I'm sure.
Yes, they didn't want you to see anything, and they didn't want you to see anything either, right? It's just a matter of how it looks.
Everything's made for looks.
Yeah.
And that goes for anything. Even when you see like people wearing street clothes in a movie, it's not made for comfort. It's made for looks. And most costumes, I can tell you, are not comfortable. It's just made for how they want it to look on camera, and the Vader costume is incredibly uncomfortable. I have physical scars from playing Vader. I won't show them to you. Let's just say the word chafing.
Yeah, thank you. And
my costume was very comfortable. Actually, the boots.
Oh, brag. Go ahead.
Seriously. The boots that I wore were Wellingtons.
Oh.
Wrapped in gauze.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Comfortable.
Yeah.
I could run on rocks.
So it's really visibility was probably the big issue.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Looking through now I was told just today by your handler, that those eyepieces are like pieces of a TV camera or a motion picture camera, the actual.
That makes sense.
Again, using what they've got, putting it together. If they've got windshield wiper blades glued to the lightsaber and all sorts of stuff. And what's great about those things is now those are all manufactured to look like windshield wiper blades, or to look like a flash pot from an old camera.
We're lost. My fault, but you... No!
Neither!
Food? Yes, crunchy food. C-3POs.
New Kellogg C-3POs. Twin rings phased together for a crunchy new force at breakfast.
Yeah, the Force is with us.
A delicious part of this nutritious breakfast.
Okay!
More? Of course. How much?
Yeah!
Oh, my.
C-3POs. A new force at breakfast.
Prepare yourself for Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire. The evil Empire has struck back with a vengeance, and a new villain, the crime lord Shizor, schemes to replace Darth Vader as the Emperor's second-in-command. With Han Solo held frozen in carbonite by bounty hunter Boba Fett, it's the rebellion's darkest hour. Now, join Jedi warrior Luke Skywalker, hard-charging Chewbacca, and go undercover with heroic pilot Dash Rendar and his booming Outrider. But can Han Solo be freed and Shizor be stopped? Star Wars, Shadows of the Empire. Look for the authentic figures and vehicles from Kenner.
今日のおかずはシーチキンシーチキンそのまま食べてもと料理してもシーチキン美味しさに平和あり
You want to explain this? Supposed to show this to a client? Are you kidding me? Come on. But I will say it does give the presentation a nice tropical feel, which is interesting. Okay, everybody, good meeting.
Did Lucas ever describe what the Tusken Raiders possibly looked like under their costume? What they were?
Interesting question. Again, they were mysterious. Again, there's somewhat technological, but maybe a creature. Was there any direction that indicated what guys were like under the masks, or were you just guys with masks?
None at all.
Okay.
None at all. Just, in fact, the gals...
I feel like Doc Brown at the end of the Back to the Future, where it's like, it can be whatever you want it to be.
Yes.
You want to be a lizard man? He's a lizard man. He can be anything under there.
I think George wanted to keep it ambiguous because I think he knew that that's part of the thrill of those characters is that you don't know who they are or what they are. When we were working on the prequels on Attack of the Clones, there's the whole sequence where Anakin goes and opens up a can of whoop ass on the Tusken Raiders because they kidnapped his mama, and those are technical terms.
Yes.
And so even then, when in those scenes, we don't see any of them without their headgear on.
They don't have the mask off, eating a frozen burrito by a campfire.
Hey, you hear something? Nope. And actually, I almost was a Tusken Raider.
Yeah?
For those scenes. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They were shooting some stuff on blue screen.
You just didn't have the stuff.
I was out sick that week.
Yeah.
Wow. I have to just be
Now,
Vader.
did they have, this is probably impossible, maybe this is more of a question for Andrew, but did they have any real elephants in the new ones? I don't think so, right? They were all probably CG.
I don't recall. Honestly, I don't know.
I mean, that's the other miracle of this movie is the fact that they had a trained elephant acting as a creature.
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a world of filmmaking that is so rare.
Sure, because nowadays they would use a CG character because of one thing in particular, control.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to train it, you don't have to clean up after it, you don't have to feed it, and it hits its mark every time.
You just pick up a phone and yell at a guy sitting behind a computer.
Yeah. More, bigger.
Yeah. Wow. You've gotten those calls probably a few times.
Yes.
I always call it whenever I watch a movie, either a Disney film or a Lucasfilm or a big franchise film, and I always watch the credits, even if there's not an after credit scene. And I hate it on TV when they squish the credits. It's so disrespectful.
And run them past like 3 times
a million miles an hour. It's like, I want to know. It's like, don't even bother. Why don't you just put a website up there and say, hey, if you want to know who was in this movie, go here. But you watch all this, and I always go, my God, the pixel minds of Burbank. And I think about these people. These people probably haven't seen their families in years. These people probably have strained relationships with their children. These people are probably just moments from killing themselves to make this magic that we're enjoying, to make Thanos blow up the universe or whatever. So it is an interesting, the amount of work. A lot of people discount CG because, it's a computer, they cheated. It's like, it's still a lot of work. It's always on someone's back to do that work. And to make that magic happen for you and to entertain you for $10 or $14 or whatever a movie is now.
We do go bonkers, though, in post-production. I mean, when I was working at Industrial Light and Magic, there was a lot of good-natured mischief because, it's movie magic when you see it on the screen. It is hours and hours and hours and days and weeks and months sometimes of tedium sometimes just trying to get shots done. I had one shot that I worked on for 2 months. It took me 2 months to get the shot done, and it got cut from the movie. Yeah.
Now, do you ever do a shot and go, okay, it's perfect, and then they take it too far and they add something that maybe they ramp it up too far? Because I think that's the biggest problem with a lot of CG stuff is that it's too overworked. They've got too many things going on at once.
Some filmmakers are starting to dial it back now, and I will give credit to J.J. Abrams when he did Force Awakens. He brought back a lot of practical effects and a lot of things like that with CG layered on top of it just to sweeten it a little, which is nice. Because, some of the films, I see some films sometimes and I just go, it's all CG, and I'm disconnected from it. And
I feel like I'm just over at somebody's house watching them play a video game.
Exactly. But yeah, you do go crazy sometimes, and that's why we would do silly stuff.
And I'm glad for these new movies that they're going out to the desert and they're filming because there is something, and even though it's certainly miserable to be out there in the desert, but you have someone performing that character, you have this random, chaotic element, this magic that can happen because it's a little bit out of control, something that can be captured by a camera that can't be planned. Not everyone is that kind of genius where they have to control every single aspect of it. I think letting go of some of that control and letting your actors and creative people and your collaborators all shine and make it all come together and have an organic, sometimes there's an opportunity there that's magic.
It used to be a joke that, if something would go wrong on set, you'd say, well, we'll fix it in post. We'll fix it in post-production. And you'd figure out some kind of way to fudge things. It's not a joke anymore. You can literally fix anything in post-production. And somebody challenged me that. Somebody can't fix an acting performance. Yes, you can, and I've been paid to do it.
Oh, wow.
If
this guy blinks too much, or why don't we put a dramatic
Natalie
pause
Portman
in here?
blinked too much
Oh.
in Phantom Menace. We painted out her eye blinks.
Was that your job to do that?
No,
Part
I
of
didn't
your
work on
job?
that one, but
Oh,
I've
okay.
worked on other things too.
Wow.
Somebody quivers their lips or something, we can fix that.
Oh.
If this actor had their best take on take number 3, but this actor in the same scene had their best take in take number 7, slice and dice, combine them together,
wow.
and you can do it.
Wow.
And so you can literally fix anything, and that's a good thing, but it's a double-edged sword because you can also make it too perfect.
Yeah.
And I've seen films like that are just too perfect. Give some chance for things to just kind of happen.
I think with some of these, how many people have seen Avengers Endgame?
Saw it yesterday at ILM.
I think that you can tell, and that they, at least it seems from my perspective as a viewer, that they tried to introduce some things that were improvisational and some things that were, they probably did 3 or 4 different takes that were slightly different, and just kind of let something happen on set with these characters. Right. And, that movie is really not about saving the universe, but each of those characters coming to some kind of arc.
Yeah.
And for them to really look at these superheroes as people and go, okay, what's a satisfying arc for this guy? What's a satisfying arc for this guy? And how do all these personalities combine with each other?
Right.
And in a movie that is, supposedly so cosmic, you've got this heart to it. And I think Star Wars has that emotional core also.
Yeah, I think so, especially the original trilogy.
Especially the original trilogy, where you get this camaraderie, especially between Carrie and Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford. You get a feeling that they like each other. They're feeding off each other's energy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Heroes. It's an old-fashioned notion. A visionary, a genius, ensuring freedom around the globe.
A symbol to the nation, a hero to the world.
The beacon of hope, shining out across the stars.
I look around at us. You know what I see?
A bunch of a-holes.
Possibility. You think you know how the world works?
The world is changing. We need heroes. Our very strength invites challenge. Challenge incites conflict. Conflict breeds catastrophe. The thing isn't beautiful because it lasts. We're in the end game now. Before we're done, we still have one promise to keep. If you can't protect the Earth, you can be damn sure we'll avenge it. Whatever it takes.
In the not-so-distant future on a planet called Earth, it's Underoos.
Star Wars Boba Fett is here. That means Darth Vader's always near.
C-3PO is lots of style. And R2-D2 just makes me smile.
Star Wars Underoos are here, yeah!
Something out of sight in underwear.
Don't be so ridiculous, R2. Underoos are for Earthlings.
One more.
I'm going to ask both of you the same question. Do you have children, and did you ever take your children on the set?
Okay, you first.
I have children, but didn't take them on the set.
Okay.
Did they see Star Wars with you? They have watched it
Did
with
we,
you?
Annie? Yes.
Okay. All right. Yes, I have children. They are not named Luke and Leia.
Despite your best efforts.
Right. But they've never been on set for that. They've been on set for some commercials that I've done and things like that. They haven't been on set for films. But they've been around it. They were with me at my desk at ILM and other places like that. But one interesting thing that I'll tell, a quick story that I'll tell, when Phantom Menace first came out on home video, this was, it was on VHS and things like that. Home video, when it first came out, my daughter didn't know anything about Star Wars. She was young. She was probably, 3 years old at the time. And she's looking at the display. We were in Target, and there was a whole display of all these things. And she's looking at the cover and all the character faces on the cover of all the different characters. And she looks at Obi-Wan, and she says, "Is he a good man or a bad man?" I said, "Oh, he's a good man." She looks at Qui-Gon Jinn, and she reverses it for some reason. She goes, "Is he a bad man or a good man?" I said, he's a good guy. And then she stares long and hard at Anakin. And she goes, "Daddy, he looks like a nice little boy, but I think he's going to do something really bad." How do you know?
Wow.
But yeah, so that's my answer to you there.
Yes, the intuitive. Somehow we knew. Was there any danger on the set of anyone getting trampled or anything like that?
No. With Margie, there was no threat at all. She was very calm, very together, and she was very good with people and kids. But with the tigers, they have their own handler.
Yeah.
And you want to stay away from the handler because they're protective over the handler.
That makes sense.
Now, Margie was also very protective over me. There was one elephant that was very aggressive, and Margie stood between him and me.
Oh, wow.
That's how she was.
Yeah. Sweet, protective.
Of me, yeah.
Panther. Yeah. That's awesome.
But getting back to the danger, when I worked with the cats, you have to be alert. You got to watch them constantly. One of my tigers, my pet, personal pet, I brought him up from a cub, and he continued. 6 months old, he still thought he was a baby.
Yeah.
And he would hide behind a blade of grass. With what and he couldn't see me.
Yes, he thought he was hiding, but he was giant.
hiding.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at him. I said, "Okay, here comes the hit."
Yeah.
And he would come and hit me.
Yeah, knock you over, probably. Wow. So he'd hit you, probably knock you down a couple times.
Absolutely.
And well, you're lucky you didn't get seriously hurt on the job.
Not once.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, we're glad that you managed to not get torn apart by a giant animal. because you would not be here with us today. It has been a supreme pleasure to talk with you, and very fun. A treat for me to be in a room with the Tusken Raider and Darth Vader. I mean, the 8-year-old Mr. Lobo is reeling. You know, there's not enough paper towel tubes in the world to try to build the magnitude that you guys have created on screen. So, so I thank you, seriously, as a fan. I thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart. And I'm sure everyone feels the same way about these gentlemen. So, you know, again, this was a job for you guys that you did a long time ago, and you know, for you to allow us to drag you out and ask you the same 5 questions over and over again, it means a lot. It does mean a lot because the fans appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate it too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I guess that's our cue, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, look at this! Oh, look at this! He's a sweet monkey after all. Maybe Alan, you think you can tame this guy for us, please? The fantastic characters of motion pictures and film, the fantastic villains and heroes of Star Wars. You know, like I said, we really appreciate the opportunity to talk with people who have been part of that and help make that, and help bring that to life. Again, a pleasure for me, a pleasure to be able to talk with you gentlemen, and thank you all for coming and being so patient and being such a great audience. Give yourselves a big hand for our illustrious guests, and enjoy the rest of the Intergalactic Expo